Tender gives Mpho permission to go to Mkondeleli's funeral. Hello guys, welcome to this episode of Muvhango. Thank you very much for tuning in. If it's your first time, remember to like and subscribe, and also click the bell to your right to get notification of new uploads. Mpho giggles at this because she wasn't asking Tender, she was telling him. Tender goes on to tell Mpho that he is the head of the family. He is not told, but he is asked. Mpho invites Tender to go with her to the funeral. Tender agrees confidently, highlighting that he didn't trust Azwindini, especially now that Gugu has dumped him. Mpho is shocked by this. Clearly, it was her first time hearing it. Gugu kissed the door and said goodbye after she made him divorce all his wives. Tender tells Mpho, the important thing is that you are not going there alone to get fed a love potion, says Tender. James tells Tender that he will return to work only after his cash boot has been removed. Imani walks in with her luggage. Clearly, she is back home for good. James is excited and jumps up the couch, forgetting that his foot is injured. They missed each other. Imani tells James that he's sitting on one lifeline now and he shouldn't mess it up. James and Imani also are considering going to the funeral, but Imani is a little concerned what Gugu will think about it since she broke up with Azwindini. James tells Imani that he knew it would not last because it was built on Susan's tears. The foundation was wrong. Imani doesn't seem to know that Mkondeleli's was off life support. Gugu fills her in that the machine was unplugged and preparations are underway for her funeral. Makadzi is worried that the chief does not look happy. Azwindini advises her that he had a discussion with Masindi and Shumi, who are not happy about the arrangements for the funeral. People are asking why they want to bury her with commoners. Azwindini advised that other royals are buried there, so he did not see a problem. Mkondoleli should be buried next to her son, Lambani. There is a debate between Makadzi and Azwindini concerning this matter. Finally, Azwindini told Makadzi that if there is anything, they should consult with him first. Vangani walks in on Azwindini and Makadzi talking about his position, that a person like Vangani would be killed when a chief died to accompany the chief he served. Azwindini doesn't realize that Vangani is standing behind them and asks Makadzi that if anything happens to me, would you kill Vangani to accompany me? Vangani is shocked by this. Rendani advises the chief that the media keeps calling with questions about Mkondeleli's death, which is probably because of how she died. Her death is linked to the crime of Nomasonto and Rosemary. It's a high-profile case. Rendani suggests that the family gets a spokesperson. Gizara suggests Susan represents the family since she spoke well and fluently on Palapala FM. Chief was worried that Susan would get a chance to badmouth him again. However, she was the only option that they had. Susan receives a call from Rendani requesting her to represent the family. She has mixed feelings about it, but finally admits. Susan gets support from Buchilo and Koshi. She was also given a statement the family wants her to read by Rendani. The journalists arrive and the interview begins. She responded to all the questions with wisdom, extremely well. The questions got very sensitive and personal. However, Susan continues to respond amicably. Susan's interview goes on with the journalists and they continue to ask her very personal and sensitive questions, but she manages to handle them very well, and also securing the chief's name in the royal house and their status, respecting their status as well, which is what Aswindini did not expect from Susan. He feared that she would embarrass them, should get an opportunity and a platform to embarrass them all. Funeral, burial proceedings are underway. Everything seems to be in place. But then there is a surprise now at the royal house as Mukondoleli's family comes through and they refuse for the Mukwevos to bury her at the royal house. They want her to be buried with her own family, so they've also made arrangements for her. So a lot of debate goes on, guys. They debate about where she will be buried, and then Kizara suggests that they consult Mulumisi as to what Mukondoleli would want, and he confirms. They visit Mulimisi, who confirms that Mukondoleli wants to be buried with her people. So this is now beyond Aswindini. It is beyond the royal house, and it will be done that way. Gugu is visited by Marang, Mpo, James, as well as Imani. They are bidding their farewell because Gugu is leaving for KZ and things don't seem to be going well for her. So she's decided to go away for a while. Thank you guys for watching. This is it for this episode. See you in the next video. If it's your first time again, guys, please remember to subscribe to get an update of tomorrow's episode and more.